Hey, Dylan.
Good morning.
Morning. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. Went for early morning surf.
Mm-hmm. No, that's actually one of the good things that we can still do, at least in some areas, huh? And actually, I remember back in the days, back in the late 60s and 70s, that's how a lot of times we stayed in shape. We went surfing before we went to work out. We actually would go surfing, and then we did a lot of the paddling, and I mean, junior guards, all that stuff. I'm sure that stuff's still around, but that was some of the great ways to train. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was really a lot of fun for me. So it's a good way to stay in shape. That's one of the things that this quarantine is creating for all of us is different ways to get in shape. But there's actually a lot of ways out there to get in shape. It's really a lot of fun. All right, let's see. Good. What do we got in here? All right, John, Kira, Elijah, Camilla, Camilo. All right. Okay, hold on. I just got a couple emails here that I'm checking on. About 3 minutes. All right, guys, we'll start. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good. Everybody ready to go. Let's see what time we got here. Oh, okay. Got two minutes. Okay. All right. One more and we start. Wait a minute, where's that one? Here. Why did I send that thing? All right, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, good morning, everyone. I know we still got people joining, but it's 10 o'clock, so let's get started. I'm really glad. One of the reasons why we switched to have one for coaches. Yesterday we had 30 coaches. It was a great meeting, and we got a lot done. We talked a lot about how to create an offense, designing an offense. But I also wanted one when I can talk to the players, because for you guys, you don't necessarily design an offense, but once your coach designs an offense, then you got to be able to make things happen. The same way with defense. How many times, and it happens all the time. We hear, we hear that, for example, the coach says, "Oh, come on, you got to shut the guy down." Okay, that's great advice, but how do you do it? Those are one of the problems that we run into. It is that, and that's why a lot of times I try to work with the coaches. Is I say, be careful what you say, or at least how you say it. When I speak with a player through my whole career, I don't basically say, "Hey, get over there and stop that guy," or "Don't let him score," or that's not the way that I do it. The way I usually do it, I'll say, "Okay, see how he always moving to his left? Okay, take away his left, and then as he goes to the right, jam his elbow." Okay, I'm going to give some specific reasons. But what I want to try to teach you guys is how to ask the specific questions. Okay, so you're going to have a specific questions, and then we're going to go through a list here that's actually quite extensive. So we might go a little bit over 30 minutes. But, how are you going to become a diverse but yet at the same time effective shooter? Because a lot of times people, for some reason, they think of shooting as somebody that throws the ball hard or somebody that throws the ball quick. But how do you become an effective shooter, right? How do you make yourself just be so good that, people basically say you cannot leave that guy alone. And I'm not talking if you're playing, if you're 18 years old and you're playing against kids that are 14, where you're going to basically shoot the ball whatever you want. I'm talking when you got somebody guarding you that is about the same level as you are, and yeah, he cannot guard you. Okay, the way you check yourself is that how much respect are they paying you? That means you're going to be either a good or he's going to be a feared shooter. So let's talk about the shooting first of all. Let's take a look at our trusty board here. As you can see on the board, you have to learn. Let's look about the shooting positions, right? So you have a center shooting. Okay, so some of you are centers. So you got to learn how to shoot from the center position. This is what we call the perimeter. Okay. This is what we call the perimeter. The perimeter is up here, okay? So the perimeter is going to be these three guys. That's what we call perimeter shooting, okay? In USA, since we're talking in US, we call these positions 2, 3, 4, okay? So 2, 3, 4 are the perimeter shooters. Traditionally, this shooter here, is the most active shooter on most teams. So this shooter right here, traditionally, if you look at it, Brejanovic from Serbia, Peroni from Spain, Tony from United States, that traditionally, that's the kind of go-to guy. It's kind of like that shooting guard in basketball. So he is this guy right here, okay? Traditionally, this guy right here is usually the defender, that he comes in, and a lot of times he has to be back on defense, so he runs this. This guy right here, he usually can drive. He can shoot the quick. Usually can lob the ball well. This is the most creative shooter traditionally, okay? This shooter here is more of kind of a power shooter. He's somebody that is not necessarily a great little quick guy, but he usually can just kind of, if they make a mistake and they drop, and you see like when you think of the Serb, like the Vujasinovics of the past, or when you think of like the Vadis from Hungary, these big guys, or even the girls like Melissa Salomon, the big girls, the big guys, they're the ones that are going to put that ball away, and they're usually very precise shooters. They're usually very accurate shooters, and they shoot the ball with a lot of power. This is the key position right here, because this guy right here, the U.S. we call 4, in Italy they call this the centrovasca. This guy here traditionally is the best passer on the team, because he's the one that's usually drop off, and he's the one that usually have to get the ball into the defense. And he's also the one that usually guards, because when he goes to defense, who is he guarding? He's guarding the 4 guy. He's guarding this guy when he goes to defense. So traditionally, he's a very good defender, And he basically is a great passer because most drops are going to happen like this. That's how most zones are going to be. So this guy, let me tell you right now, you want to make a national team, you want to make your college team or your all these things, become that kind of guy. Because, there's about 100 of these in U.S. Honestly, I can remember when I was the junior coach, the national coach, even in Brazil, when I was in China, there's always a bunch of these guys because everybody wants to be this guy. Oh, yeah, I want to be the shooter. I want to be like the best shooter. I'm the stud, kissing the bicep. There's a ton of these. Not many of these. I couldn't think, if I tell you right now, and if I call all my friends, most of my ex-players are now all college coaches, and I'm going to tell them right now, and I'll say, guys, name me 20 great two players. And they're going to say, oh, there's so-and-so, 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 kind of out of high school, this guy. And I go, okay, now name me five. 4 players. They're going to go, well, because they're going to think of the left-handers. But the percentage of left-handers on teams is less than 5%. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to remember that there's not, as a lefty, you are blessed. You're lefty. You already have a 50% chance, better chance for you to get on a team. Just because you're a lefty. You do. Just because you're a lefty, you have a better chance. But a lot of times the lefty is so count on to score. So a lot of times when the lefty is here, this guy kind of loses a little bit of his power. So if I'm Serbia or Hungary right now, for example, because they're the ones with the bigger lefties, you have a Filipovic or a Mandic, or you got a Vamos or Sakaslavi, Nagy. These guys right here, they're more like just pure shooters, so they become this guy. But when the right-hander is in this position, I tell you what, it's gold, guys. And I'm going to teach you how to be that shooter because there's a couple things we got to change, okay? All right, then we got these guys. Some people say, well, what about shooting from the wings? First of all, in a regular offense, you shouldn't really be shooting the ball from the wings that much because you really should be covering. Because if this guy's driving, you got to be covering on defense. And but if you are, there is some ways you shoot the ball from the wings, particularly not to get counter. Don't try to, when you shoot the ball, you got to understand why you're shooting the ball. That is the most important thing you want to do when you shoot the ball. It's like how much time is on the clock, what's the situation, am I going to get counter? And all this had to take about 1/10 of a second. Yeah. There's a lot of visualization. If you ask basketball players or quarterbacks, they don't have that much time to think. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that when you get the ball and you're going to shoot the ball, already as the ball is in the air, because you're going to be looking at the ball, no problem. But as the ball is in the air, you're already going through your mind. How much time is on the clock? Who's guarding me? Is he rushing me? Is somebody open? Am I spraying my eyes to see what's thing that's happening? All that has to take place. And that's like a split of a second. Because as the ball hits your hand, the shot comes up. That's where the shot comes up. And you have to have that. Okay? So these are the main shooting positions like this. Then, of course, you also have 6-on-5 shooting positions, right? So on the 6-on-5 shooting positions, the weakest part of the American game in general is these two guys. We are not very good post shooters. And again, the reason is U.S. is the greatest sport country in the world. And because of that, we also have a lot of media. And because we have a lot of media, because we have a lot of media, we kind of tendency to like give the guy that scores a lot of goals all the media, except for hockey that gives a lot of value to assists. It gives a lot of values to block shots. In U.S., we don't. I mean, think about it. In a lot of countries, they do, by the way. But, in U.S., I mean, does your league, for example, most of you are like high school age. Do your league has a trophy for most block shots in a season, not by a goalie, by a field player, or most steals, or most assists, right? Or more game-winning shots, or game-winning, steals. These things actually are much more important because a lot of times you might score 10 goals when you beat somebody 23-1. Are those 10 goals very valuable in your mind? No. I don't think so. So I kind of like the idea when all my teams that I've had in the past, and we've won a lot of championships, what I did is that I kept record of everything: earned ejections, ejections. I kept shot blocks, steals, turnovers, because I want to know the leader in every single part of the game. And that's what you guys need to become. You become this great player that understands all around it. But I understand. So what happened is why we have weak posts. It's because nobody wants to play in the post. We think the post is the place you put the guy that can't shoot. Well, actually, it's the other way around. If you look at it, if I was going to build a great 6-on-5, the first two things I would look for would be my post guys. Because if these guys are active and they can come in here and he can come in here, and this guy here can actually shoot the quick by moving that way, that way, that way, he get this pass. He can 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 get this pass. I mean, my goodness. If I have that post guy being a great shooter, I mean, think about it. You're on the team for sure. I have picked guys on the team just because they're a great post player. I did that just now with Brazil. I said, you know what? Yeah, he can't shoot the ball from the outside, but man, on the post, if the ball comes even close to him, it's going to be a goal. So again, it's another way for you to become a great player. Okay, so then you've got this shooter, these two. Traditionally, these guys over here, traditionally can shoot the ball quick. They can wrap, right? They're quick shooters. Their fake is usually quite quick because they're not given a lot of time. So most of the time, you're not going to be able to have 5 or 6 fake from these positions. Somebody's going to attack you right away. These guys have the big fakes. They usually traditionally have, let's say, that big roundhousers or pause cut, because they're just faking, pausing to force the goalie to be with them. And as they cut, so watch me, okay? So if I pause cut, so start learning the terminology, okay? We all know the pause. That's like a hezzy, okay? So you go hezzy, shoot, hezzy, pass. I'm going to show you pause cut, pause cut, pause cut. What you do is that you pause the goalie in one shooting lane and then you slightly move the ball. What that will do is that for some reason it will move the goalie's body, not just his eyes. Okay? So it's just one of those things. And again, pause cut, as you come in here and you're faking, you can pause cut, you can move it. So these are these guys right here. Okay? And they are the ones that are going to take the big, powerful shot. They're going to hit the corners, and and of course, these two guys are going to create a lot of opening. Example, this guy slides this way. He blocks him just enough. So you'd be able to have a shooting lane. Okay, so these players are very important on that. So I want to show you something right now. And of course, those two questions I get as a lefty: should I focus more on shooting or passing, and playing from 4 on offense? That's a great question. For some reason, I don't know. I mean, some coaches feel that the lefties should be passers. Well, I'm not one of those guys. Okay, I'm actually one of those guys that, if I have a lefty, I'm going to make it the best there is. Because if I have a lefty that they can shoot the ball and can run my 6-on-5, I'm telling you right now, I'm 20 or 30% better as a coach and as a team just because my lefty can shoot the ball. I know when I was in China with the women, there was a girl named Zhao Zihan that I call her ZZ. She was a lefty. She was not even a starter on her Chinese team, but I saw something I liked. I took her. Within 1 year, she was the second leading scorer of the World Championships in Kazan for the whole world. Okay? Because once you become a great shooter with a lefty, my goodness, let me tell you, it makes it very hard for you to design defenses. So if you do have a lefty, I would say, of course, you have to be a passer, but I would say work on your shooting. Okay? Work on your shooting. Passing is something that we all need to work on. So I know on that question is, should I work on being a passer? No, we all should be passers. Okay. So we all should make sure that we don't make mistakes on passing. All right. Let's take a look at a video that I prepared for you guys over here real quick. And I want you to see it. Okay. Let's look at this video here. I wanted to show you is this one right here, actually. It's a little small. Oh, where's my video? Where'd it go? All right, it's not there. Well, let's take a look at this one here. There we go. All right. So this is European Championships, 5th to 8th place, but Italy and Russia have very contrasting styles. So I wanted to make sure you take a look at it and how do we play, all right? So hold on, let me just jump this thing here real quick. Sorry, I was working on something else early. Okay, so let's go in here. It should have been already set up. There it goes. Okay. They're gonna sprint. You know, good. The referee. I want to go right here and show the shooter. Hold on. There. Okay. So here we go. Italy's up by 2. Watch the shoot. See the left-hander again. He's a passer. Okay. There's the exclusion. We're gonna go to the 6-on-5. Okay. So watch the 6-on-5. Okay. The Russians are gonna work the 6-on-5 now. The Italians, the Fulvio was excluded. See what I mean? That quick fake. See, everything on this side is quick fake. Look at these posts. Look at these posts. Look how active they are. The lefty, here's the big one, here creating a lane, you know, I look at the big, see, and he's just trying to shoot the ball. The big problem on that there was not enough movement on these posts. They're staying too much in the center, and these guys are not pulling the trigger as fast as they should, okay? You saw that shot was very slow, okay? So let's just go to the counterattack. See that shot, very slow that the goal is there. That should have been a skip shot, okay? Here we go. Another 6-on-5. You know, he comes right back. That's not what I want to look at it. Hold on. I want to see it right here. Penalty shot. No, I don't want to look at the penalty shot. Okay, that's what the penalty shot is. As you know now, anybody touches the hand, you got a 2 penalty shot. Good penalty shot. Nice wound up. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's watch this one here. So, again, look at the D-off moving shooters. Again, big guys on top. There's the center working again. There's another exclusion. Okay, so everything is happening for the center to work. So that's why it's so important for these guys on the perimeter, particularly at 2, 3, 4, to be able to be good passers and move that ball around. So you see again, look at that. You see that? Now, let's go back. Look at this again. Look at it again. Look at this guy. Look at here. Look at the other guy too. Look at that one and look at that one. Those got to be goals. I'm sorry. Those got to be goals. There's a reason why the score is 3-1. Russia has missed 2 wide open shots from the post shooters. Okay? Let's go back and talk. All right? Let's go back in here. So you saw what I'm talking about. So you have a situation where the post is put in play. The guy's wide open. He's right here. He's wide open from Georgia, the Russian. Wide open. And the guy puts the ball perfectly. And he cannot redirect the ball because if he's right here, the goal is going to crash. Think about it. The goal is going to crash here. Here's where the goal is will go. So where are you going to redirect the ball? Here. Instead, he tries to shoot the ball there. So the point that I'm trying to make on that situation is that you saw the perimeter players are being pressed. They're working the ball around by 2, 3, 4, moving the ball around, getting into the center, getting the exclusion, creating the 6-on-5. Because let me tell you a secret. If you watch the European finals, if you watch the World Finals of last year in Korea, I'm going to give you a little number. 95% of the shots were scored on 6-on-5 or penalty shot. Yeah. How many goals were scored on counterattack? None. Pretty much like one breakaway here and there that I don't even consider to be, let's say, a pretty counterattack. It was more like a mistake. But you got like 1 goal scored on a counter or 2. And then outside shot, yeah, maybe. Once in a while you see a great one. But most of the goals are coming on the 6-on-5 and on the penalty shot. So what kind of shooter should you become? And this is the part that I think is funny. Okay, let me ask you guys right now, if there was training for you guys today or tomorrow, how many of you guys, when you are in the pool training your shooting, you train shooting with a shot blocker in front of you like it is on a 6-on-5? Or do you usually, the coach goes like this, all right, guys, let's work on our shooting, and everybody sits on the ball like an egg, and everybody just kind of goes in a 2, 3, 4, and everybody just picks up the ball, fake 12 times, and shoot the ball when the goal is drowning. Because that's the majority. I watch practices all the time. Your coaches a lot of times send me practices to evaluate. And when I see they go shooting, they're swimming. Okay, let's swim for 73 hours of swimming with 150,000 yards of swimming. And then, all right, guys, let's shoot for about 20 minutes. Seems like it should be about 15% of swimming and about 35% of shooting, if you ask me. Because there's a lot more shooting in the game than there is swimming. The only time you swim horizontal in the game is when you counterattack. Have you ever figured out how much that is? If you actually only use the part that horizontal, because to me, their swimming is horizontal. When you say water polo conditioning, that's releasing, driving, and all this stuff. But when you look at it, you got to have that. And most of the time, we don't work on that. So the coaches, instead of sitting over there and working, say, okay, let's work on our shooting now. Okay, here we go. Okay, this time, guys, I want to go ahead and go fake cut, shoot. The next time we go fake slide, shoot. The next time go fake hezzy, shoot. The next time go fake hezzy, give, go. This is what you should be doing on your shooting. Shooting is not just picking the ball and throwing it, guys. That's throwing. So what I see a lot of times between in American shooters in general, we do a lot of throwing. Count how many times you throw the ball at the goal. But how many times you really worked on your shot? Did you have a shot blocker? Did you have a shot blocker say, "Guy, take away my shot to the left because I'm really good at shooting cross skate." Put a shot blocker there. Force to kind of wrap around. Force to wrap around high. Force it. That's how you work on your shooting. But we don't do that. We don't do that. When I see it, I know one of you or two might do that once in a while. But guys, I'll be honest with you. I don't see it. Okay, when I see it, when somebody tells me just work on something, okay, so when I ask that question, I say, okay, how many shots did you take today? And the guy said, I don't know. First problem. Because if you ask a pitcher how many pitches he had today, he'll tell you exactly how many. But you don't count yours. Why? I did. I do. I make my players do that. Count. How many shots you took today? 40? Okay, good. Let's break it down. On your 40 shots that you took, how many of them hit corner? How many of them were blocked? How many of them hit the bar? How many of them were air balls? And then when you took the shots, what kind of shots did you take? Did all the shots come out of the same fake? Did they come out of the same release? Did you all have thumbs up, thumb down? What is your release? Because see, if I shoot the ball is here, okay? So watch my hand, here's the ball. There are ways to shoot the ball this way. That is the most common. Those are usually the quick shots. They come this way. But then there's also thumb down, okay? They usually have a tendency to bring over the top a little bit. They usually kind of skips or sometimes spinners. They come out with a thumb down, but they also thumbs up. And those are the cut shots. Those ones you kind of push. So it's almost like a come in and push the shot. So that's just 3 that I just told you. Now, follow me on this. I'm working on my shooting. I hope you guys have paper. If not, you can always send me an email and I'll send it to you. I'm going to start training a shooter, as I did with Tony and as I did with a lot of shooters that I've done in my life. I work on their fingers. They have to be able to have strong fingers. So, you can do that with squeezing a ball, pushing the ground, pushing the table, just anything with your fingers need to be strong for more than one reason. Not only to be able to really push the ball at the end, but at the same time, if the ball hits your fingers all the time, it doesn't hurt all the time. Hands. Okay, everybody on the video, can you open up your hands with this here is in a complete line? Let me see it. Now, a lot of you are like this. I don't want this. I want this. I want this to be completely. So what I usually tell them, force it slowly. I don't want anybody breaking, but push it down. You should be in a straight line because that makes my hand bigger. Say, a lot of you guys open your hand like this. See how this is here and here? Well, you are losing about 1/4 of an inch on each side. So you can actually make your hand bigger, but just opening up more and creating that little space here on the ball. Because the ball should not be palmed. The ball should be controlled by your fingertips. Okay? So again, make sure your hands are here. Wrist, right? Wrist. I mean, how many? Can you move the wrist this way, this way, this way, this way? All of them are different wrists. Can you move the wrist and then come here? Move the wrist, come here. Because again, there's a ton of little muscles there. There's a ton of little things that you can be working on and making sure when the ball comes in, boom. Hey, one of the things that make the great shooters, and that's why all the leading shooters in Olympic history are all these quick shooters. They're not the power ones. It's the quick guys. Okay? But why? Because the ball comes out of their hand with such quickness, and it's very difficult for the goalie to pick up. These guys that take a half an hour to get a shot through it, hey, that's really good if you got a horrible goalie. If you got a good goalie, he's going to read you like a book. Okay? So you got to be quick. So there's the hand. Then you got the forearm. Well, I got two things in the forearm. I got my forearm flexor. That's this guy. And then I have my outside flexor. That's this guy. So that means I got to work on my forearm. How do I work my forearm? And again, 6'8" has a lot of these drills. Get on the wall. You know, here, curls, up, curls, you know, do a little, you know, hand grabbing. You know, before the practice, what do you do before a practice besides checking on the phone? Before the practice, you could do it, get your best butt out there, and they do a lot of these exercises, do a lot of stuff for your wrist, forearm, shoulders, right? I'm going to eat big. You'll get somebody to come in. What I used to do is, like, you know, when the kids were, I used to get a guy that's not so big on the team. I used to say, hey, can you just sit here and sit on my shoulder? And then I just basically just kind of throw him over there. You know, I want to get I want to be able to make this motion with a lot of strength, this motion with a lot of strength. How do I do that? Oh, you can do bands, right? You can do bands is a great way to do it. But I used to like the contact itself because I was a center. So I wanted to be able to be a shooter with contact, okay? Of course, the lats, you know, you got to be able to turn. A lot of exercises you can see on that too. Sit down core exercises, turn. You're a shooter. You're not just developing core. So it's turn, throw the ball against the wall. Turn, throw the ball against the wall. Just do a lot of those kind of things to get your lats going. And then, guys, legs. legs. I would say the major after coaching was the only American coach to coach in Europe in the professional leagues. And let me tell you this. The big difference between the workouts in Europe, they're not better than we are. But you know what they do better than we do? Is that they do legs. Most of their workouts, I would say, is about 35% legs. Where your own self, think about it. I know you don't want to think of math right now, you're at home. But tell me, what is the percentage of actually legs that your team does? Because legs, usually they sit over this, maybe 10, 15 at the most. Okay, let's do some legs. Everybody just kind of hits the ball. No, that's not leg. You want to do legs? Get a heavy ball, put it in your shoulder. You don't have a heavy ball, get a regular ball. Put it in your shoulder like this, and then go up and go crank, crank, crank. And every time you do that, you do a vertical breaststroke kick. Do a vertical breaststroke kick. Think about it. Put the ball in here, right in your shoulder, just like in your shooting motion right here. Then you do a huge breaststroke kick, vertical breaststroke. You go straight up in the air, and then you crunch. So that means I'm working core. I'm working lats, back, legs, arms. That's doing legs. That's how you do legs. Because last time I checked, I don't see too many people being allowed to do this in a game. Are you allowed to do this? Are you allowed to put your hands up in a game at any time if you're not the goalie? I don't think so. So why am I doing this? So maybe if I'm going to do legs, maybe I do this. Because then I'm allowed. I can have the hand here like I'm stealing, but I'm still shot blocking. So I'm jumping here. I'm doing star jumping, boom, boom. Maybe I can raise the roof a little bit like, woohoo, woohoo. You know, I mean, hey, create stuff to make your leg work. You need spider legs. You need vertical breaths. You need vertical scissor. Because the egg beater is only to push you down. Egg beater doesn't make you quick left or right. Egg beater is to keep you up. When you shoot the ball, do you egg beater or you vertical breast? You vertical breast. You egg beatering faking, but when you shoot, what do you usually do? You do like a kick. But most of the time, we don't work on that kick. All right. Okay, let's take a look at, for example, the hamstrings, the hips. Because remember we were talking about becoming that shooter right here that I was going to give you guys. All right. Okay. See, the difference is that when you're a right-hander shooter, if you think about it, the right-hander shooter in here, okay, he has his left shoulder pointing at the goalie, and he's coming off the right. So it's a natural motion, right? This is natural. It's natural. But when I'm in this position, I am not natural. I'm a right-hander. So what ends up happening, a lot of times people here shoot on their backs and they shoot these sidearms. And sidearms, particularly if you're young, don't do it. It's bad on your elbow. So what I have to do is that I have to take my leg, my left leg. So when I'm a right-handed shooter, watch my fingers, okay? So my right-handed shooter, my right leg is here. Because you sit on your right, you sit on your left leg, and your right leg pushes you forward. Okay, it's like hurdle. So you have a left leg that is supporting it, and then your right leg is going to push you forward on your shot. But if I'm on this side, I can't do that, because if I have my left leg and my right leg support, I'm facing that way. So what I have to do is when I'm in this side, I'm going to change it a little bit, okay? Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my left leg and I put it across. So I'm putting my left leg more that way. So then the right leg is actually going to pull me as I shoot across to this side. So that means the left leg is kind of across a little bit. So instead of the left leg being like this and the right here, it's kind of like almost together. Because that way I can come over the top, and that's what we do a lot of the cut shooting. There's some great cut shooters out there in the world too, that are just outstanding cut shooters. So let me look at something here. Let me look into the share. I want to see if I can find it. I don't know. Looks like somebody took my stuff and took it all out of. Where did it go? I don't want that. Where is it? Okay, and that's not what I want. Here. Okay, good. Get it out of there. Is this game right here? What is it? Here. Okay. Oh, that's a semifinal. No, I want the Russia Spain. And somebody took that out. It's okay. Good. Okay. Somebody messed it up and took everything out. So again, we go back, see that Croatia with the Germany here. What I want to do is let's look at right here. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Take a look at these. What we're going to do is here is that, you know, you have the team Spain, Croatia. Watch the shooting. See that quick shooting? See that quick? See, but see how he comes in. Look at the elevation that he comes up. Look back at the elevation that he's going to have when he's going to get the shot off. Watch how high he's out of the water. What leg which leg you think he worked? That was a vertical breast. That's a vertical breast. Okay, and that's Felipe Peroni, one of our great shooters. And this time is different. He's going to pass. What kind of shot do you think that was? Okay, that's a quick shot, and this is one of the young players that's doing a good job. We go on a counterattack. Okay, let's come in here. Okay, look at this now. See that post? This is what I wanted to see. Okay, hold on. Here we go. You're going to send it back. Watch. Remember, we just saw 3 straight shots by Spain. They could not score on all 6-on-5s. Okay, and look at this right here. Look at the post. There's the post. Look at this. He caught the ball. He caught the ball, going to his right, completely pivot 360, and shot the ball across Kate. Okay, let's go back to our trusty. My trusty board. Woohoo! Look, it's exactly what I was telling you before. He's got the exclusion. You know, we did everything we're supposed to. We got everything done. Everything is great. Everything is great. And then remember, this guy went a little bit this way. This guy went a little bit this way. He comes this way. Okay, the ball came. He came this way. He does not catch like a backhand slap. That is a shot you really don't control very well. He actually catches the ball going the other way, spins it. The goalie is going to take it away, and then he shoots cross cage with this guy crashing. This is what it is to be working on shooting. This is what it is when I say I want to be shooting. Let's take a look at a couple things here. How can we work our legs specifically for egg beater during the pandemic? Well, actually, that's a great question. 6-8, there's actually a ton of them. There are so many things you can do with your legs. You can wrap your legs with bands and do it sitting up style, pulling yourself up, and you're working on egg beater that actually is going to burn, and it's going to be great. There's a sumo series that is great. They're working your legs. Actually, legs are one of the things that you can do very well with this pandemic. Because the only thing you can actually do with this pandemic, and that's one of the things that we work with a lot of guys, including national team members, you can work on everything except the swimming part. Because you can work on breaking down video, becoming smarter, working on your shooting motions with bands, working on actually throwing a ball against the wall, working on your hand techniques, working on your sit-up, working on your physical conditioning, working on your mental game, and definitely work on your legs. There's so many things you can do with your legs, all the way from simple burpees, but with the leg in a spider way. Spider legs are huge at this point. And so the only thing you don't have is swimming. So that's why to me, I'm just saying, hey, listen, COVID generation there, bud. If I was you guys, I would come back from this with the strongest legs in the planet. And you can do that. Because legs you can do every day. I can remember even when Tony was a little kid, I used to make him sit, watch cartoons in the morning. Not make it. I would just tell him, hey, instead of watching cartoons sitting on the sofa, sit on a Swiss ball. You want to watch a show on television? Okay, I understand. It's kind of boring sometimes. Okay, but instead of sitting on the sofa, right, why don't you sit on a Swiss ball? And as you're swinging with the ball, you're moving back and forth and working your legs. Why not? Why don't you sit on the ground? And as you're watching, you can maybe be doing some sit-ups as you're watching the show. They're little things, but these little things make a huge difference. So you go back. I don't care if it's outside, it's in your room, and whatever it is. You can sit over there and you can do spider leg drills, right? So open up your legs as wide as you can. Don't keep them always the same way, okay? So you can move sometimes this way, sometimes donkey kick way, sometimes dolphin kick forward. So you're constantly moving, because the important thing on the leg, think of the leg as this perfect muscle. So you got this whole leg over here. It is not just developing one part of the leg. You got the inside of the leg, you got the back side of the leg, you got the front side of the leg. I'm not going to bore you with all the, let's just say Latin names for every muscle. What you basically have to understand is that you got to develop all the way from the hip down. So that means the hip motion, hip flexors, hamstrings, all these muscles. Then you got to go to your calves. Then you got your calves. Then you go to your feet. All these things you can do at home. And go take a look at the 6-8. I mean, it's there. It's free right now. Just go look at it. You got a ton of video that tell you how to do all these things. And whatever you don't know how to do it, ask. Okay? Because those are there. Let's see what else. Let's see. Don't you put your hands up to prevent a foul? Okay. If you put your hands up to prevent a foul like this, and the guy is facing the cage, what's the call? Penalty shot, or you are excluded. If you're inside the 5, it's a penalty shot. If you are outside the 5, then it's just an exclusion. Okay, you are not allowed to ever put your hands up like this. So if the guy is not facing, or say if the player is facing forward, right? Say I'm guarding the player here, and he's facing that way, like towards the side of the pool, and I put my hands up like this, that's nothing. But that happens what, about 14 seconds in a whole game. I'm not so sure you want to be working on a skill that you only use it for 14 seconds in a game. You might want to be watching in a skill that you work for 10, 15, 20 minutes in a game, like it is this kind of shot block, this kind of shot block with a hand low, or this kind of shot block, So what you want to do is you always want to do things that are more advantageous for your time of training. Remember, most of you only have 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours of training. Okay. So you got to fit in a lot of things out there. And so the 2 hands to prevent a foul, I advise to don't throw your hands up unless the ball is not being faced to the cage, because it becomes a habit. And I've seen a lot of times, particularly internationally, you guys go their hands up like this to show no foul. The referee goes 5 meter. Because that means somebody on the perimeter is going to shoot the ball and you got 2 hands up. No matter how you look at it, that's a 5 meter. Okay? All right. Let's leave it some time, because we got only a couple minutes left. What other questions do I have? You can unmute yourself also if you want to ask the question without writing it, just personally. Remember, guys, we're all on the same team here, so don't be like, oh, I'm so nervous, coach. Coach, I'm nervous. Last time I was nervous when I was born. And that's only because I didn't know if I was going to be a boy or a girl. All right. So, but hey, there's no reason to be nervous. Let's do what we have to do. Okay. So let's see. What's the best way to increase throwing shot strength? Great idea. For me, I love the impact ball. This is something that was created back in 1928 by a guy named Bela Comiati. It's a ball that's 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds, and it fits your hands where your hands does not overextend. It just keeps the hand in a certain position. So it works both the inside, outside flexor and wrist. And you take that impact ball, and all you do is you basically throw it somewhere between 20 to 25 times a day, as hard as you can against a wall. But there's also other drills you do with the impact ball to develop wrist, hand, and strength. That's usually the best way to increase your throwing strength as an impact ball. The second other way that is also very effective is with bands. So you can use bands. Never shoot with a heavy ball, by the way. In the water, never shoot with a heavy ball that can really damage yourself. But you can do bands are very good. The other thing that I use that I came up with a few years ago, unfortunately, they're not made in the States, and that is a hand weight that came around my wrist. It came around my thumb, and then it basically it was right around the hand, so it didn't affect my fingers at all. It was kind of like these half gloves, and they weighed about a quarter pound. And what I did is I had the players play with that all the time, and that increased their arm speed and also their strength on their fingers when they threw the ball. So the best ways to increase that strength is throw the ball, heavy ball, impact ball, like don't want to throw a big one, against the wall, and then bands. And then, like I said, when you are throwing this ball, do not do it standing up. Make sure you go in your knees, because like I said, you want to try to simulate as much as you can your throwing motion in the water. Okay, so you can do it on your knees. There have been some people out there creative, and I love creativity, that sit on Swiss balls to create kind of like that little bit of instability. Some of them actually, I saw one of them. There was a great one I saw actually out of the Middle East, and one of the players that I met in Kuwait last year, and he was doing it actually on the bed. He had, kind of one of those very shaky kind of beds. Like very puffy. Some people like that. I like mine like wood. But and then he's sitting over there, and basically what he's doing is kind of moving on the bed on his knees, and that kind of gives that same idea of the water, because the water basically is not a constant, so it has some movement in the water. So as you're faking, the body is moving a little bit. So anytime you can simulate the water, it's great. But that's definitely something you can do, and it will make a difference. Tony have had one of those in his backpack since he was about 9 years old. And he did it every day at practice, 25 times he threw a ball against the wall. And that's going to develop your quick wrist and power in your forearm. It's not going to make you look big, for the stands, sitting over there every time you score the goal and give you my biceps are so big. Remember, biceps are only good to impress others, but they do nothing for your shooting. Nothing. Okay? So sometimes people say, Coach, I've been doing a lot of bench press. And I'm like, oh, great. You want to look good? Because if you actually want to shoot, you should be doing throwing the ball hard. You should be doing bands. You should do those kind of things, holes, those kind of stuff. That's what's going to give you velocity on your arm and going to strengthen power. Okay? All right, guys. Hey, listen. I know I gave you a lot of information out there. The next one I'm going to do, I'm actually going to isolate 6 shooters, and we're going to show every one of their shots that I did. So make sure you get you one for the next one, because I'm going to do one shooter at a time, and I'm going to shoot the motion, the things that I talked about, all the way from the fingers up. We're going to break it down how to get there. Okay. If you need workouts, go into 6-8. And like I said, there's many good ones out there, but if you're not, send me an email and I see what I can do to help you out. All right, guys. Water polo rules. That's the key. Hey, I wanted water polo to become a religion, personally. I think it would have been a great religion. All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right.